Hey folks, how are you? It's Max Powers again, and I'm here to tell you about an interesting night that I had. It was actually the night before I found that Bigfoot universe. I was up in New Hampshire, and I was driving around looking for a campsite, and I was lucky enough that I saw a truck in front of me pull into or towards a campsite, um, and then he saw all the mud and stopped and backed out. Um, so I drove in, and I pretty confident with the handling of my vehicle. So I went right through the mud, no problem at all, and I got the campsite. He came back later, noticed I'd taken it, was kind of cranky about that, but he gave up on the mud the first try. So I pull in, and my usual like MO when I look for a campsite is I pull the vehicle in, I stop, and I just kind of look around it. I get out and I walk the perimeter of the site, and then in a couple spots I'll head out into the woods and just kind of look around to see what's out there. Um, and this spot was just a good spot to camp. It was way out in the woods. There were tree limbs around for to cut up for fires. It was a good spot. So I then sat down, and this is something that some of you may think I'm crazy for doing, but I sat down and I kind of meditate on the spot just to let anything that's out in the woods know. And I understand that's completely the woo, and some people aren't into the woo at all. But I've had some experiences in my life that lead me down that road. So I gave a little meditation, and then I just set up camp, lit a fire, opened up the tent, and what have you. I knew rain was coming, um, so I did it pretty quickly, but I made sure to do my little meditation and my introduction, I call it, to whatever's out there before I set up the camp. So I set up camp. I had plenty of time to, get a good fire going, hang out by the fire for a while. And I cooked a nice dinner, had a glass of wine. And right about the time my fire was dying anyway, I could hear the sizzle of the rain, the big raindrops hitting the fire. So I opted just to call it a night. I went to bed. Um, Climbed up the ladder, lied down. I think it probably took me, I had done a lot of walking that day, a lot of exploring, so it probably took me a matter of like 2 minutes to fall asleep. And I don't really know how long I was out for, but in the middle of the night, in the midst of all the pouring rain, I was awakened by not just the sound of the rain, but the sound of voices outside the tent. So I'll pop in video of that. It woke me up. I could hear the voices. I had a camera right next to me, so I turned the camera on and I just listened intently. And I did that for the duration of the voices. I went back to listen to it when the voices died down, and with headphones on, all I could hear was the pounding rain on the tent, which is too bad. I've got to get some better audio equipment. If you watch my videos, you already know that. But so I didn't catch any of the voices that I know of. If anyone wants to try and run these through some kind of filter, that'd be awesome. I tried it with just the equalizers here on this app that I'm recording my voice on right now, and still all I could hear was the rain. You can hear some deep tones from the video, but that's about it. No actual voices, and I couldn't make out anything that they were saying. But you could tell that there were two voices, and one was a deep, deep male voice, and one was either a female or a juvenile. But it was a higher voice, and it didn't have as much to say. So eventually, the excitement died down, and I was able to fall back to sleep. I woke up the next morning and climbed out of the tent. I'm really groggy in the morning, so coffee's the biggest thing. And in order to make my coffee, my refrigerator and my stove, everything is in the back of the the rover. So I have to lift up the window and drop the tailgate. I lifted up the window and I went to drop the tailgate and I realized there was a rock on my bumper. So I reached down and moved the rock and dropped the tailgate, and then I realized, how did this rock get on my bumper? One of the last things I did, before I went to bed was close the tailgate. So it didn't happen the entire time that I was in camp or around. It had to happen through the course of the night. And I firmly believe that it was related to the voices that I was hearing around me that night. I told the story. You saw that video towards the beginning. And I told it like fresh and excited about it still and holding the rock. The rock is an amazing rock. I'll show video of it at the end, or pictures of it at the end. It is this translucent white rock. It's broken, and on the parts that are broken, it is like the smooth, like reflective surface. It's really, really interesting. It's not quartz, I don't think. Perhaps it is, but it doesn't have any of the crystalline edges. It's an interesting rock, and it just kind of appeared overnight. I didn't hear any big thuds or anything like that. I don't think it was thrown at me. I think it was placed there. But yeah, that's my rock story. So I got up, I made the video. I was very excited. Packed up camp, and I went out exploring. Um, like locked up camp. I didn't pack it up at that point, but locked everything up in case someone came by. And I went walking through the woods, and that's when I stumbled across that Bigfoot Universe. So I just think it's an interesting thing to have had happen, and it's kind of my entry into the woo. I've told you a few things about the woo before, but it's not something, generally speaking, that I dwell on. So, but I do have some stories. If you're interested in the woo, I might share it a little. But that's my story about the voices in the woods and the rock and finding the Bigfoot universe. So I hope you enjoyed that. I wish that that original video had come out because I probably did a better job telling it fresh in my mind like that. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. Have a good one.